Hello, Internet. So I thought today I would have the place to myself to record a whole bunch of videos, and it kind of turns out that's not the case. My daughter is sick for the day. Actually, the entire daycare has been laid waste with something or other. So she's taking a nap right now. This is probably the only chance today I will get to record something. So we're gonna hammer through this as quickly as I can, and hope she doesn't. If you hear a toddler, running in from that direction, that is what's happening. It is also gross and disgusting and hot today in Chicago, and since these are kind of high ABV bombs, that may affect the tasting a little bit. But again, accept that and move on. So these are 3 rum samples I've been wanting to try for a while and had lying around for a while. From my friend Rachel sent this one, and my friend Matt sent these 2. And I just been they're so weird. I've been having trouble finding a theme to kind of group them into. So basically, I just thought, okay, these are all column distilled, and they're all weird. So we're gonna do like a weird column distilled rum video. So we got 2 of the XXX series. These are collaborations between the aficionados group, so Reddit nerds basically, and Fine Drams, which is a lovely site for ordering spirits and other things. And then we got the Transcontinental Rum Line, Trinidad, 2001. Don't get excited. This is not a Caroni. This is presumably Angostura, but it's has a lot of hype behind it. So we're gonna all of these distilled on columns. The first and the third, I'm ordering them based on like increasing alcohol content, which is completely arbitrary, but so is the entire video. So number 1 and 3 are cane juice based, or at least cane syrup based. I'm not totally sure on that. Not molasses based, put it that way. And the Trinidad is, of course, molasses based. So it's a little bit of a mix. And the costs are also interesting. The 2 XXXs are not very expensive. I think the 5, you can't get the 5 anymore, but used to be around $50 depending on the exchange rate. The 6, the 3 was 50-ish. The 6 was around 65-ish. And combine those 2 together, and you still not the cost of the TCRL Trinidad, which was around $1.20, so kind of expensive, especially for Trini column-based rum that is not Caroni. All right, so let's that's a long enough introduction. Let's get our noses stuck into these guys and see what's what. Okay, starting with the XXX3. This is was originally distilled at Alcoholes Fines Dominicanos, which also makes Ron Barcelo, so I haven't done Dominican rum on this before. Because I've tended to not spend my money on them. I find them to be a little bit thin, a little bit too kind of branded and processed. They do tend to be drier. They do tend to be less dosed than a lot of Latin style rums, but they just never sort of been on my radar very much. This one is interesting because, of course, not only undosed, but bottled at a full strength of 62.4%, and it's cane juice based, not molasses. Apparently aged, so distilled 2010, aged 5 years in ex-bourbon casks, and then shipped to England. I think all of the XXX series eventually made their way to England somehow, and then given a sort of rum cask finish for a couple more years, and then bottled in 2019. So that's kind of the story. I'll put more of the stats below, but basically, roughly 9-10-year-old cane juice based Dominican rum. So here we go, on the nose. So interesting. This is so it's a very nippy nose. The alcohol is very obvious on this. Again, 62%. Not even the strongest here, but it's coming through. and very, very rummy. This smells, I mean, this just smells stereotypically rummy, which I enjoy. So I am getting bananas. I'm getting bananas Foster as well. So both like the fruit, but also like dessert made out of the fruit. There's some RC cola in here. There's some cola notes. Vanilla essence, a kind of rustiness. There's something marshmallowy in here. There's a s'mores note, like slightly toasted marshmallowy, graham crackery, chocolatey goodness. But then you get some very lovely floral notes, almost like lilac notes. I don't know. I'm not good at picking out flowers. That's the best I can do. And even if it is, I mean, on the nose, if you told me this was cane juice based, if you didn't tell me this was cane juice based, I wouldn't be able to guess it. I'm actually getting some light molasses on the nose, so cooking molasses. More s'mores, more bananas and cola. There's a kind of Virginia tobacco, like a sweet Virginia tobacco thing going on here. Maybe one that was aged a little bit longer. Some leaves, some like dried autumn leaves, like you raked them all up and you kind of stuck your nose in them. Throw a cafe mocha into this as well, and maybe just a few, identifiable rummy notes, like one olive, one fennel seed. It's kind of there, but it's way, way in the background. You have to go hunting for it. It does smell like a rum, but it smells like a very clean, industrially produced, column-distilled rum. But good. This was not, pushed up to 95% or something. This feels like it came off the still, I don't know, maybe around 90, maybe in the 80s somewhere. It's not as aggressively distilled as it could be, but it's still pretty dang clean off the still. And on the palate, kind of follows from the nose. Nippy, alcohol nippy, and very rummy. Doesn't have a long finish. Feels a little bit, so it's falling off a little bit on the finish. And it's falling in on the mouthfeel. This is very, and this is something that a lot of sort of industrially produced column distilled rums have a little bit of a problem with, even when they're presented well. They just feel a little bit thin, and the finish does not hang for very long. But those are the main problems here. From there on, it's all pluses. Notes similar to the nose. Yeah, we're still on cola, banana, flowers, buckets full of flowers, vanilla, tobacco, a little kind of burned nutshell kind of thing. But then you're gonna throw in some IHOP syrups. So you got your standard pancake syrup, and then you got some fruity ones going in. Maybe some strawberry syrup, maybe some even a little touch of blueberry and blackberry syrup in there. But dry. This is quite dry. It's fruity. It's floral, but it's very dry, and I like that. I like that this does not feel dosed at all. There's a little bit of old furniture in there. I feel like I just, went to a yard sale and ripped off the arm of someone's chair and started chewing on it. There's a little bit of a mint tea, like a Senegalese mint tea aspect to this. And we're getting more into like heavier rummy notes. There's a little bit of licorice peeking through, some, real European, licorice that you have to get in the paper bag, which I like. But, lots of interesting flavors, very cleanly presented. Little thin, little short on the finish, But I mean, there's a lot good to say here. Let's put it that way. All right, so I'm gonna be right back. I forgot my dripper. Oop, oop, oop. Oh. Again, I'm kind of winging this a little bit. I'm gonna put some water in this. Put it under pressure. Do 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 do. All right, let's see if that's enough. That was what, 4 squirts? I wouldn't normally drink everything I drink at 45-ish%, but I think it's good to kind of when you're reviewing things to push them a little bit. So if adding water to them and getting them down to that strength starts to reveal problems. That's worth knowing, even if you wouldn't necessarily drink them, at a lower strength like that. I think when I made notes for this, it took 5, so let's leave it there. All right, moving on to the Transcontinental Rum Line, Trinidad 2001. Lots of hype on this one, despite the fact it is not a Caroni. This is Angostura Distillery in Trinidad. 17 years tropical aging, then moved to the continent for another 2 more. Column-distilled, molasses-based. What a nose. And bottled at a modest 66.8% alcohol. Okay, on the nose. And expensive. Did I mention expensive? Like $120 expensive? This smells like mutant Twizzlers. Like you got the green ooze from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, and you sort of poured it on some Twizzlers, and it started to develop, like grow arms and legs and stuff. That's what this smells like. Mutant Twizzlers, lots of herbaceousness. There's some wintergreen, fresh mint, peppermint too, and I'm going to piss people off saying this. It smells a lot, actually, like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Really good New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. There's a gooseberry note in there. There's touches of like grapefruit peel. If I go hunting, I could probably find some cat pee in this, but not immediately evident. Very fruity, very floral, very herbaceous, very different. Raspberry, red currant, dessert cherries, those sort of syrupy maraschino cherries, not like wild cherries. This smells like, those bright red ones. Oolong tea, hibiscus tea, lots of teas. Peach, but more like peach eau de vie than actual like peach. You're getting those sort of I don't know, like refined eau de vie-ish notes, if that makes sense. Nothing about this makes sense. It's a very, very, very special nose. A little sort of light cola, like a cherry cola thing. A little plantain, and a little bit of like a Dominican cigar, like a Dominican Puro, that's really pushing the floral elements those cigars can do. This is a fascinating nose. I wouldn't say the nose is worth the price of admission alone, because it's a rather high price of admission, but God, it's a good nose. You could spend hours just burying your head in this glass. All right, on the palate, here we go. Okay, so strong. Let's start with strong. I did have these 3 bottles waiting in the air conditioning, but even so, I have to say the heat of the day is not helping with the alcohol on these. It is coming through. And it's not just the heat. These are just strong. Mango candy is the first thing I think about. Twizzlers used to have like some kind of tropical Twizzlers. Anyone else remember this? There's a kind of tropical Twizzlers note going on. Menthol, lots of menthol. Stone fruit, but like green stone fruit, unripe stone fruit. Oolong, overstewed oolong. There's a lot of tannins on the back end. Very grippy. Much longer finish than the XXX3. Pink peppercorns. Very peppery. Has that sort of extra aromatic thing going on, though. Dominican cigars again. Pickled ginger, actually. The finish is just endless and huge and long. I mean, if you're picking at, if you're pushing me, I'm going to tell you this is not, on the palate, at least right now, it's not as good as the nose. This is really a nosing rum. God, the nose is good. But I mean, it's still a very, very good on the palate. This reminds me of the review I did back in the day of, oh, what the hell was it called? The Trini rum from House Alpens. The one based in Bird. I'll put it down below if I remember any of this after the toddler wakes up. Where I was talking about like the potential that Angostura had if it really pushed, you know, some stuff coming off the still at lower strength. If it really, you know, pushed, you know, no dosage and high and longer aging and higher bottling strengths. And this is what it's like. I mean, this is the potential for that kind of distillate. This feels like something, you know, that came off the still, lower strengths, and just spent a hell of a long time in oak, and is now being presented just as it is. And it's terrific. It's really, really good. Oh, God, it is a big bastard, though. Okay. Let's add some water to this, get it down to the 40s. Okay, that's 5. Nope, we need a 6 squirt. The rare 6 squirt. Okay. And now, on to XXX6. This is from Mauritius. I actually reviewed a Mauritian rum. It was a blind. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. That was one of Rachel's, but that one was molasses based, and hot distilled or hybrid distilled. This one is off a column, and it is cane juice based again. So, but presumably this is more of an artisanal kind of column setup than you would have seen in XXX3. Distilled in 2010 though, so same year as the 3. What a nose. Aged in the tropics on Mauritius for until 2018, and then moved to England for a 2-year secondary maturation in ex-bourbon casks, and then finally bottled in January 2020 at a strength of 67.2%. I will put further information down there. All right, on the nose. This one has got a little bit of infamy to it, for good reason, as you shall see. Okay, so the nose is nippy, first of all. I mean, the alcohol is very, very present, and the hot day is not helping. But it's also just a bizarre nose. My first reaction is take some lemon bars, some really, really good lemon bars that just came out of the fridge. You know, you baked them, you threw them back in the fridge, chill them down. You took them out of the fridge, and then you dump them in. Do you know that sort of purplish soap that you use for mops, you know, the really cheap purple soap. Put your lemon bars in there, take them out and smell them. And that is really what this smells like. But nice, as I sometimes say. There's a little bit of those pastel after dinner mints in this. This is such a fun, I mean, I love this already because it's making me laugh. I cannot resist things that make me laugh. You know, even if sort of looked at it with an objective eye, they're not, you know, the best things ever. They just make me happy. There's like a mango, but mango chewing gum note to this. Tar. A little grapefruit. And just to remind you, this is kind of still in the broad genre of agricole rum. There's a little bit of burning plastic in the back. And a big old splash of seawater. Well, really, it's more like you know when the little bouillon cubes, the Maggies, the really cheap Maggie or Maggies, whatever they're called, and you make broth out of those, and it's a little bit medicinal, as well as sort of salty, and there's a little bit of that in there, sort of Maggie broth. It's very fun on the palate. Again, fun, different. We're still on cleaning product lemon bars and nippiness. This is the alcohol is definitely there. Let's talk about the finish, because again, it's a very endless finish. It feels a bit strange because there is like almost a char note to it, but I don't think that's the wood. I don't know if you can tell by the color. This does not have a lot of wood influence. I don't think that the sort of bitter note on the back end of this is actually wood. I think it's just part of the spirit. The finish is like candied wildflowers and artisanal soap and nettle tea, but then also an interesting medicinal bitterness. Something, it reminds me of Lafroig, but it's not Lafroig, and it reminds me of Dickel, but it's not Dickel. It's just a very interesting, distinctive kind of medicinal bitterness is what I can tell you. Yogurt. Peach yogurt, nectarine yogurt, stone fruit yogurt, nutshells, but it's not bourbony. Kind of cinnamon roll, but dunk your cinnamon roll in like seawater or the sort of Maggie broth that I mentioned. I mean, this sort of gives me an idea of what it would be like if candy canes could like spontaneously ferment. Again, it's very fun. If you're watching this and you're interested, I have to warn you, there is a very good chance you will not like this. Let me repeat that. Don't pay attention to the score or the price, anything like that. There is a very, very good odds that you will not like this. Get a sample, shake someone down for a sample if you possibly can first. Just bonkers stuff. If you squint real hard, you can kind of tell it's an agricole, but you do really have to squint really hard. That is special. All right, this is gonna need 6 at least. 5, 6. And let's see if that's enough. Oh, interesting. This, if you don't like this at first, try adding a little bit of water to it. We'll come back in a second. Full of surprises, XXX6. All right, let's go back to number 3. Again, this is the cane juice based one that just seems very traditionally rummy. And on the nose with water, XXX3. I mean, it's not a huge development. What it's brought out is a lot more fruit. There's a lot more fruitiness coming out, and more oak too. In this case, it's not bad. This is not bad oak. This is we all know bad oak, right? We know what that is. This is not that. This is, you know, a little toasted coconut, vanilla, kirsch, lots of cherry. More s'mores coming through too, and there's in Chicago. There is a very, very old soda factory called Filbert's, and they make a banana soda, which you need to try just to have that tasting note in your vocabulary. This has with water, a Filbert's banana soda comes out of this note. And a little bit of kind of an old attic sort of note, just kind of general musty woodiness, but nice. It's not a hugely complicated nose. It's not, you know, totally blowing my head off with awesomeness, but it's very nice. On the palate, aha. And this is why we add water, because we can see, you know, are there good things going on in the background or not so good things going on? The water improves this mainly by extending the finish. It still feels a little bit thin for me, and nothing's probably going to change that. But it gives this sort of extended, over-stewed tea, wood tannin finish, but nice. I'm enjoying it. It's not over the top. It's very balanced and fruity. And again, what the water seems to be bringing out is that fruitiness. Yeah. Again, more oaky, cherry, woody elements, tea, with water. This is really nice, actually. Especially, again, you can't get this anymore, but at the $50-ish price tag, I think this is a little bit of a steal. For the strength, for the age, for what it's delivering in the glass, I really do. This is a little bit of a steal. Easily the best Dominican rum I have ever had. And I know I sound a little bit like a hegemonic imperialist bastard when I say this, but I really feel like this is the direction that a lot of, you know, Latin style rum should be heading in. Like, you guys, this is terrific. Like, I want more of this. And I don't see why y'all aren't doing this, because I would buy it. I would spend my money on this. Again, not astonishing, amazing. I'm going to give this an 84 plus. The plus because gotta improves so much with water. And for the price, I mean, that's terrific. And it's an approachable style too. Like, you can pop this down in front of your, I mean, hell, anyone, you know, whiskey nerds are gonna take to this right away. Your dad will be okay with drinking this. He might wonder why it is so drying on the finish, because he'll probably want to make an old fashioned out of it. Not a good old fashioned, but an old fashioned. The important thing is he'll like it, probably. This is very approachable, very likable, very friendly. I'm into this. 84 plus. Moving on to the TCRL Trinidad, 2001. Now brought down to, I don't know, imagine mid-40s somewhere, strength-wise, on the nose. So I don't get a whole lot of development, or at least it actually seems to maybe pull back a little bit. The aromatics actually are Yeah, I'm going to say the aromatics are less crazy now. There's less stuff going on. Do you know those sort of strawberry candies and like the little plastic wrapper that, really old ladies sometimes have around? This smells kind of like those. It smells a little bit like strawberry candy, but those special ones, right? You've still got a little bit of the mutant Twizzlers, herbaceousness, all that funky stuff from before, but it's kind of pulled back in the background. This does not seem to like to swim very much, at least on the nose. I mean, it's still nice. I still like this nose, but I liked it more when it was at strength. On the palate, ooh, yeah, this is one of those. Oh, so I had this. I've had this happen before, notably to George T. Stagg. You add water to this, and the fruit kind of shuts down a little bit. All the interesting stuff kind of shuts down a little bit, and all you're getting is sort of an oaky bitterness. Actually, more than an oaky bitterness. This tastes like strawberry cough drops. So again, it becomes quite medicinal. Ooh. I mean, the finish from before was very long and herbaceous and really, driven by lots of red fruit. But this time, it's just gotten a little bit mad at me for trying to add water to it. It's like, dude, why'd you do that? I was very happy at 66.8. So yeah, my advice to you on this is if you're going to add water to this when you drink it, be very, very careful. This does, I experimented with this a little bit with my sample. In the mid 50s, it seemed okay still, but here, probably in the mid 40s, it's gotten a little bit unpleasant. Will it go away if I let it sit for a little bit, or at least calm down? Probably a little bit, but this is still something to be wary of. So score. It's a little bit hard to score because of this factor. Neat, I would have given it an 88, but I'm going to have to bring that down because it gets so aggressive and unfriendly with water. Let's call this like an 88 minus 2. So like really an 86, but let's just call it an 86. It's 88 minus 2, but it's really 86, which is not a bad score. Do I think it's worth $180 or $120? I wouldn't pay it. I mean, I'm glad to have nosed this and have stuck my nose into this glass because the nose is so good. I don't really want a bottle of it. Ooh. A little bracing. Oh God. All right. Now I'm a little bit scared as to what the XXX has done. Oh God. Has this gotten more aggressive, more bizarre now that I put it down into the mid 40s like the others? No, it's no more bizarre than it was really. I mean, it's kind of gotten a little bit more actually fruity and sweet smelling. No actual sugar in this, of course, obviously, but a little bit of sweetness has come out. So chamomile tea with honey, some kind of bizarre honey like a Manuka honey or something is my first thought. But still, I mean, most of the same notes from before are still there. Doesn't change a whole lot. It just gets a little bit nicer, more approachable, and it has that chamomile note now. We're still mostly on floral, pastel mint, Maggie broth with, peachy mango nectarine chewing gum. And yeah, that's kind of where I am with this. On the palate, Holy crap. So this had one last trick up its sleeve before it left the episode. You add enough water to this, it suddenly turns back into a normal agricole rum. And a good one at that. We are on flowers, rocks, tar, grapefruit, lemon, some, herbs, but sort of normal herbs, mint, basil. Burning plastic ash. It's quite sweet. The sweetness has come out. Oh, I like this. Well done, XXX. This is just, it's a star performance. Oh, my daughter's awake. All right. Hi, hon. You feeling better? Yeah. All right, I'm going to score this 86 out of 100, which means it ties the thing that costs twice as much money. So, again, really get a sample of both of these if you can, but absolutely get a sample of XXX before buying. But it is intriguing. And it's just a wonderful example of something that explores the logical space of possibility given in agricole-style rum. Oh, I like this. I have no idea how other human beings are going to react to this stuff, but it makes me laugh, and that makes me inclined towards it in a positive light. All right, so where are we on this? We actually have a two-way tie between the Trinidad 2001 and the XXX, and even if the XXX3 at a mere 84 plus versus 86 for the others is kind of in behind. I mean, this is the one I would probably serve first to other people. Like if you're putting out something for a party, go with this. This is great. And that's what I got. We are 37ish minutes into this, and I'm gonna cut it off and to go, see how my daughter is doing. Thanks for watching, and cheers.